I'm Tori from Tori's Taste, and today we're doing a recipe for crockpot squash primavera. So first things first, I want to tell you guys what foods we have and what ingredients are going to be in this recipe. So we have a 28-ounce can of tomato sauce, a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. I've also fixed up some Italian sausage. We're going to do some onion, some garlic. We have some oregano. I've chopped up some fresh basil. And most importantly, we have our spaghetti squash that I have already chopped in half. So let's get started by making sure everything's ready. So for the squash, what we need to do first is make sure that we have it punctured on the outside in order for it to cook through. So let's just do a few here and there. Be careful not to cut your fingers off. That is the most difficult part. All right, now that that's done, the next thing we're going to do is take out the center brains. All right. So, now that the squash is ready, we're going to prepare the onions. Okay, so our onions are ready, our squash is ready. So next, we're going to go ahead and get started putting everything into the crock pot. So first things first, you want to put down your tomato sauce. Make sure it covers the entire bottom of your crock pot. Next, we're going to put in our crushed tomatoes into the crock pot as well. Just kind of make sure it's, mixed in there pretty well. You don't really need to do much stirring, it's all going to cook together anyway. So after that, what you want to do is go ahead and get your onions put into the crock pot. And you really want to evenly distribute these across the tomato sauce and tomato chunks, crushed tomatoes I should say. Yum onion. There we go. Alright, onion is in there. After the onion, what you want to go for is your garlic next. So we've got a few cloves of garlic chopped over here. Roughly chopped. And what we're going to do as well with the garlic is just sprinkle it across so that it is all over the top. Alright, once you get your garlic in there, the next thing you're going to want to do is go for the Italian sausage that you have pre-cooked, because it will not be in the crock pot long enough to cook the sausage. So again, we're just going to do it across all over the top. So it's just evenly distributed as best you can. After you've done that, the next thing you want to do is get your oregano. So for the oregano, what we're going to do is put about a teaspoon of it into the palm of our hand, just like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to rub the oregano into the palm of our hand as we let it just fall out of our hand all over into the crock pot. What that does is it brings out all the oils and the delicious flavor of the dried oregano. Now the last thing that we're going to put on top is the fresh basil that I've chopped up. So we just sprinkle our basil. Sprinkle, sprinkle. Oh, got a little too much over there. Move it around. You want to have this one evenly distributed as well. Alright, so as you can see, we've got all of our yummy stuff in the crock pot. And the next thing we're going to do is put both halves of our squash face down, cut side down, into our crock pot. We're going to hope that they fit. It's a tight squeeze, but it's okay, it'll work. Alright, and something that I just really like to do last is just put a little bit of olive oil. It's not necessary, but I like to do it just because I love olive oil over the top of each squash. There we go. I'm just going to rub it on a little bit just to make sure that the whole body of the squash is just lathered up good like a greased pig for Thanksgiving. Alright, now once you've got everything in there, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to seal your crock pot. And once you seal your crock pot, this one is a super fancy one. It latches down and it is, bear with me folks. Not very good at this part. Alright. Now, once everything is completely in there all together, super happy and ready to let these flavors mingle, we're going to turn our crock pot up to high and we're going to let this cook for 2 hours. Okay, so it's been 2 hours. We're ready to open this up. Oh goodness. Check out the spaghetti squash. See what's going on inside. Okay, so this is going to be very hot, so be very careful when taking this out. I would suggest to use a spoon and the fork that you're going to be using to shred it. Let's see. What we're going to do is we're going to lift it. We're going to sit it down on our cutting board. Oh goodness, I'm struggling. Ooh, warm, warm, warm. All right, and to shred it, this is just all you do. You go across the spaghetti squash on the ends. You're just taking it away from the rind, the skin of the squash. So once you get this done, we're going to put it back in. So let's keep shredding, shredding, shredding. It will take a minute. Okay, so now that we're pretty much done stringing out our spaghetti squash, this is going to be what it looks like when you're done. It's okay if it's a little chunky, it's fine. So as soon as you're done stringing this out, what we're going to do, let's see if I can do this without burning myself, is we're going to pick up our squash and we are going to put, oh goodness gracious, the meat of our squash back in, like I said we were going to do. All right. Now, I'm going to repeat this with the other squash, the other half of the squash. Okay, so now that we've emptied out both squashes of their meat, what we're going to do is we're just going to make sure it is just stirred in just until it is incorporated. All right, now, since it is incorporated, we are ready to serve. So I'm going to get a bowl right here, and I'm going to use the same spoon that we used to stir it with, because why dirty up more utensils? All right, you see these? We've got a few big chunks of squash, like that one right there. That is so fine. Get a little more sauce on top of this. All right, now then, once we have that done, we can get us some Parmesan cheese, yum, and we can just sprinkle some cheese on top. And there you have it. You have spaghetti squash from the crock pot.